Hold up, because that wasn't just a bad restart at Martinsville, that was the kind of moment that can follow a driver for weeks. Bubba Wallace got into Carson Hocevar on lap 324, kept hitting him into turn 3 and 4, and in one ugly burst the whole race changed. If you watch this sport every Sunday like I do, you know when something crosses from hard racing into what in the world was that? And man, this one had everybody staring at the screen. So real quick, hit subscribe if you want honest NASCAR 2026 talk without the fake screaming, because this story has chaos, pressure, and a whole lot of fallout baked into it. Late in the Cookout 400, tempers were already simmering, Martinsville was doing Martinsville things, and then Bubba just flat-out rammed the back of Hocevar's 77. The first hit didn't spin him, then the stack-up happened ahead, then Bubba hit him again, and suddenly the number 77 was around and the field behind them had nowhere to go. 12 cars got caught up in it, and that's the part that makes this feel even bigger than a simple short-track nudge. Zane Smith got dragged in, Chris Buescher got collected, Connor Zilisch got caught, both Legacy Motor Club Toyotas were involved, and just like that a race that had been building naturally got ripped open by one decision. That ain't just beating and banging, man. That's a full-on momentum killer. And here's why fans are still arguing about it. When you watch the replay back, Hocevar didn't really do anything in that moment that screamed he had it coming right there. Sure, there had been tension. Bubba said he didn't appreciate Hocevar going 3 wide into turn 1 earlier, and I get it. Drivers remember everything at Martinsville, especially when the corners feel about as wide as a driveway. But Wallace admitted it after the race. He said he misjudged the center of the corner and didn't mean to turn him. That honesty matters, but it doesn't erase the damage. Hocevar somehow fought back to finish 17th, which is honestly tougher than people realize, while Bubba's day was toast in 36th, his worst finish of the year. And that is where this stops being just a spicy clip for social media and turns into a real problem for the 23 team. Wallace only got 1 point at Martinsville, and after being right near the top of the standings earlier in the year, he's now sitting 11th. That is a brutal swing this early in the season.
Rebound for everybody, and it's a track we expect to be good at when we come here to Martinsville, and I'm glad to see that. Weekends like last weekend, you start to question everything, and you have to, right? As a competitor, you have to do that, but nice to have a good rebound, solid car.
And that's exactly why this season feels so wild already, because 1 week at Circuit of the Americas, at COTA, you're praising smart recovery drives, and the next week at Martinsville, somebody's whole afternoon gets blown to pieces. Go back to the Duramax Grand Prix for a second. Joe Gibbs Racing had Christopher Bell and Ty Gibbs buried outside the top 30 in points coming in, then both of them answered with real speed. Bell finished 3rd, Ty Gibbs finished 4th, and that top 5 finish mattered because it showed how fast fortunes can flip in NASCAR 2026 when a team actually maximizes the day. That's why this Bubba mess stings so much. The points are there if you stay clean. The second you lose your head, Martinsville cashes the check. And while that drama was boiling, the other side of this race gave us one of the coolest storylines of the year. Chase Elliott finally broke through. Not by dominating all day, not by lucking into some fluke deal, but by a gutsy Alan Gustafson call that absolutely changed everything. Denny Hamlin had this race in a chokehold for most of the afternoon. Pole sitter, stage winner, 292 laps led, total control. Elliott started 10th and looked solid, not untouchable, just solid. Then Gustafson rolled the dice in the final stage and brought the 9 down early, going against the safer split-the-run plan. Old school nerve, man. The kind of call fans roast if it fails and act like geniuses knew all along if it works. Elliott cycled forward, got the caution he needed, then Ross Chastain stayed out, Hamlin missed a shift on the restart, and suddenly the door cracked open. Elliott lined up on the outside, cleared Chastain a couple laps later, and from there he was money. Cool in traffic, smart with the tires, no panic. Just clean, veteran short-track racing. He held Hamlin off, gave Hendrick Motorsports its first win of 2026, and did it 11 years to the day after his first Cup start, which also happened at Martinsville. I mean, come on, you can't script that any better unless Hollywood hires a race fan.
He did a good job controlling the pace there. It's just, it really came from that, bad restart I had beside the one, and so just not much really I could have done there, and it felt like we gave it our all.
And that line hits even harder after Martinsville, because that's what Elliott did better than anybody. He was there when it mattered. The final top 5 tells the whole story too. Elliott gets the win, Hamlin has to settle for second after leading almost everything, Joey Logano grabs third, Ty Gibbs keeps stacking a strong season with fourth, and William Byron rounds out fifth. Quietly, Ty Gibbs is becoming one of the sneaky biggest stories in the garage. Between COTA and Martinsville, the kid just keeps putting solid days together, and that Joe Gibbs racing camp suddenly feels a whole lot more stable than it did a few weeks ago. Christopher Bell finished 7th at Martinsville, so while he wasn't the headline, he's still hanging around, and that matters once we get deeper into the year.
We're happy that it paid off. I mean, we were just kind of trapped in like 10th spot. It's really hard to pass, and we just need to do something different. Mathematically, it was close for us.
For Monster Energy Group, thank you to Tom and Hilton and everybody at Monster that helps me, been with me my whole career. Had a lot of fun today. Our Toyota Camry is fast. Just I need to do a little bit better of a job, and maybe next time I come back will be even better than this. But
that right there is the lesson Bubba Wallace and the 23 team need to take into the off week, because salvaging points is boring until you're the guy who didn't do it. I'm not saying Bubba meant to junk half the field. I am saying drivers remember stuff like this, fans remember stuff like this, and Hocevar for sure is not going to forget getting flat out dumped like that. So when people ask, big trouble for Hocevar? Honestly, I think the bigger question is whether this turns into bigger trouble for Bubba's season. The good news is there's a reset coming before Bristol on April 12th. The bad news: Bristol is not exactly a spa day. Last April, Kyle Larson led 411 of 500 laps there, and that place will punish any team that shows up even a little off. So now we wait. Can Bubba bounce back and cool this whole thing down? Can Elliott turn one brilliant Martinsville win into a real championship push? And can Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell, and the rest of that Joe Gibbs racing bunch keep that early road course rebound rolling after all that COTA drama? Drop your take in the comments, because I want to hear it. Was Bubba just too aggressive, or did he flat out lose the plot? And if you're locked in for the next one, subscribe, stick around, and I'll catch you after Bristol, where this season is probably about to get even crazier.